Alright, it's Mr. Gillum again. Here we go with Notes 2.5 Day 2. We're going to write the equation of lines again. Today it's going to be a little different because they're not going to give us much information. All they're going to give us is just 2 points. Okay? We want the equation of a line going through these 2 points. And if we remember from the other day, our equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. Now the problem is this. We don't have an m value and we don't have a b value. And we need to find both of them. So using all the information that we've learned so far, we need to figure out how to find, first of all, our slope. And what we know is that slope, m, is equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We can find the slope given 2 points. So we're going to go back to what we learned about slope, and we're going to say, okay, that's my first x and my first y, my second x and my second y. And if I want to find the slope between those 2 points, I can. I could say the slope is equal to 3 minus 4 over 2 minus 1. And so the slope is really equal to negative 1 over 1, or the slope is equal to negative 1. So that's what I could use for my slope, my m value, negative 1. Once I have my slope, just like yesterday, I can figure out, okay, if I know that my slope is negative 1 and I need my b value, I have a point with an x and y, let's just plug it in. I can use either one that I want, and I'll show you that here in a minute. If I use the point 1, 4, I plug in x and y. 4 equals negative 1 times 1 plus b, or 4 equals negative 1 plus b. If I add 1 to both sides, 5 must equal b. So that's my b value, my starting point, my y-intercept. I can plug it right into my equation. So my equation actually is y equals negative x plus 5. And it's not necessary to write the 1 in front of the x, but you can if you prefer. Okay? Now, let's just pretend we use the second point to plug it in. Let's say we knew y equals negative x plus b, and we needed to find b, but we used the point 2, 3. If we use the point 2, 3, we get 3 equals negative times 2 plus b. 3 equals negative 2 plus b, plus 2 to both sides. And look what happens. You still get b is equal to 5. So you should still get the same answer no matter which point you use to plug it into. Okay, so let's do a few more examples and go through the motions here and do enough so we're confident in what we're doing. The second example, similarly, we want to write the equation of a line, and we know that slope-intercept formula of a line is y equals mx plus b. The fastest way to start is by finding the slope. So let's just label our point here. There's my first and first x and y, and my second x and y. So we call them x1, y1, x2, y2. And I know that slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's just find the slope. y2 is 5 minus y1 is 3 over x2. And please be careful to plug all your numbers in with parentheses. You need a minus sign and then in parentheses x1, negative 1. If you forget to put the parentheses, you're liable to get just minus regular 1. That's not the case, so be careful there. The slope is equal to 2 over 4 minus negative 1 is 5. 2/5 is the slope. So I'm halfway there. I found my slope. I know that it's 2/5. But I still need to find my y-intercept, my b value. So what I can do is I can just pick a point. Let's pick the first point again this time. I can use these coordinates, x and y, to figure out what my b value is. This time it says 3 equals 2/5 times negative 1 plus b. So in this case, 3 equals negative 2/5 plus b. When I multiply, you multiply straight across. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. 5 times 1 is 5. And I add 2/5 to both sides. So I could say that b is equal to 3 and 2/5, or better yet, 5 times 3 is 15 plus 2 is 17. b equals 17/5. Okay, so that's my b value, 17/5. Now, that was a lot of work. So what I recommend you do is this. First of all, your final answer is y equals 2/5 x plus 17/5. This is my solution. I recommend you look for an easy way to do this. What I notice is, oh, never mind, that won't work out. We're not doing that. We're going to move on to another problem. Okay. If at all possible, please use the point that's going to cancel out the fraction if that's possible. I was going to say let's use this one and plug it in because the 5's will cancel out, but I didn't see this is a y value, not an x value. So no matter what, you're going to end up with a fraction on that one. So there's a good example of fractions. Let's do another example here. Let's say one more time we want the equation of a line y equals mx plus b. The first thing that's easiest to find is the slope. So let's find that first. I'm going to label my first x and y and my second x and y. I'm going to say, okay, my slope is equal to -4 minus -1 over 3 minus -1. So my slope is equal to -3 over 4. My slope is -3/4. So I'm halfway done. I have y equals -3/4 x plus b. Now let's just pick a value to plug in and solve for b. -1 must equal -3/4 times -1 plus b. So I could say -1 equals 3/4 plus b. If I subtract 3/4, I know that 1 minus 3/4, here's my side work, is really 4/4 minus 3/4, which is equal to -7/4. So my b value equals -7/4, but what they asked me to do is write the equation of a line, so I need to write it as y equals my slope, -3/4 x minus 7/4. This is my solution. Okay, another good problem with a lot of fractions in it. Okay, let's just do one more. This one shouldn't be too bad. We'll say, once again, I'm writing the equation of a line, y equals mx plus b. Here's my first and second x and y. I'm going to plug that into my slope formula. I'm going to say the slope must be equal to 1 minus 4 over 3 minus 3. Oh, this is a special example here. The slope is equal to -3 over 0, which is undefined. Okay, so to write the equation of this line, it's a little tricky. You have to think on this one. When you get an undefined slope, you know that it should be a vertical line. And to figure out where that vertical line is, you need to look at your points. We have the point 3, 4. 3, 4 is right up there, and we had the point 3, 1 right there. And the point should go through it, and we know the equation of this line should be x equals 3. So when you get an undefined slope, you got to do a little extra thinking on your own. X equals 3. We'll do another special example. We're going for y equals mx plus b. That's the slope of a line. That's the equation of a line. We're going to say slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, this one's not going to be too bad because we're going to say that x1, y1, x2, y2. We're going to say 2 minus 2 over 2 minus -2. So we really have 0 over 4 or just 0. 0 is okay. We can still use this to plug into our formula. So let's just use this. We have y equals 0 times x plus b. We need to solve for b. But we know that anything times 0 is 0. We'll say 0 times, let's pick the second point this time. 2 plus b, and we'll change our y to a 2. 2 equals 0 plus b, or 2 equals b. So we have an intercept and we have a slope. We can say the y equals 0x plus 2, but really we just have y equals 2. And as soon as you get 0 slope, you know it should be a graph with a horizontal line. So it does actually work out.